Hey guys, today Buttercup is getting a bath. In today's video, I'm going to talk about how to polish a violin. I don't know where you are, but here it's the perfect day for doing inside work because it's a glorious fall day. It's cloudy, it's cold, it's rainy, so it's a great day to get cozy, get into some comfortable clothes, make yourself a cup of chai tea, and let's polish a violin. So the first thing that you have to do is gather all of your materials. So you'll need some polish, a cloth for the polish, your violin obviously, and a cloth for dusting off the instrument. So before you begin polishing, you actually have to kind of dust off your instrument. You don't want all the dust and rosin to kind of get rubbed in to the varnish and then into the polish. It's not going to look as shiny. So I have left some rosin on here so you could see the difference. Okay, when I wipe it off. Alright. I only polish about twice a year. You don't want to over polish because it's not good if you would need repairs on your instrument. If you get a crack, it's actually harder to repair if you have layers and layers of polish all over your instrument. So first, just give it a quick wipe down to remove any rosin or any dust. And rosin should be removed and wiped off after every practice session. It will eat your varnish, meaning it turns it to like a really nasty gray color and it loses the shine. Okay. Now again, I only polish twice a year so that if I do have an issue with my violin, it can be repaired easily. So most luthiers don't recommend you polish your violin very often. I just give it a good polish before the busy seasons of performing, so usually in the spring and then the late fall, so that my violin looks nice and shiny and sparkly for performances. Okay. And then in between polishing, all you need to do is take a nice clean soft cloth and wipe it down, dust it off, and then buff out any fingerprints. So by buff I mean just rub until there are no more fingerprints. Okay. So I just wipe off the whole thing. And I polish before I do a string change. That way if I get any polish on the strings, it's not a big deal because I'm going to take them off anyway. And I obviously don't do that before every string change because I change strings way more frequently than I polish. Okay, so that looks pretty good for the body. This is also a good time to clean off your chin rest. Okay. And then I take the rag and I'm going to put it, you can also do this when you go to change strings, but I'll do it now, underneath the strings like this. Let's see, a little bit closer. And then I just pull down this way under the strings to dust off the fingerboard. Okay. And then I also pull it underneath the fingerboard because it gets quite dusty and rosin under there, and you might have to go thinner. You can also use things like Q-tips to get into really small spaces, like underneath the feet of the bridge. I think I can get it with just the corner of my cloth. Okay. So now that that's done, we're gonna add some polish. I like to start on the front of my, or the back of my violin. We'll start in the back. Okay, now this polish is the Hill & Sons polish. There's a warning on it. I'm not usually a person that uses toxic chemicals. This has turpentine in it. So it's harmful if swallowed. Don't drink your polish, friends. Wash your hands after you're done polishing, that sort of thing. There are more polishes out there that are natural. And I tend to use that. I just don't have any right now. And then the COVID situation makes things a little more difficult to get on a whim or when I need it. So I just give it a good shake. And then I flip my violin over in my lap, and I go this way so that the fingerboard and the bridge are sort of resting in between my legs, so we're not putting pressure on it by being upside down. That sound, if you can hear it in the background, is my cat on the cat scratcher. So you need just a little bit of polish. Okay, so I just go like this, just over once, and that's plenty. Okay, and then put it on the back. Okay, and then just start rubbing. And that little amount should be plenty for the entire back. So I like to just go all the way through, cover the whole back. Okay, and then work in small sections, just in circular motions. There's something in my eye. It's not the polish, although it's got chemicals in it. It could be. Okay. It's not. There's something in my eye. I'm being silly. Okay, so then you just rub it in. Go in circular motions. Okay, and it takes some time to bring out the shine, to buff out the shine. Okay, so like I said, grab a cup of tea, get into some comfy clothes. I usually watch a movie, or episode of something, or I listen to the radio when I am doing this. So the point of polishing again is to remove all of the dirt and grime and rosin off of your instrument and to make it nice and shiny, but also to feed and condition the wood to keep it in tip-top shape. We want to keep our wood fed and conditioned to help keep things from drying out and cracking as well. And you must use a instrument polish. Do not use regular furniture polish. It's not the same. It's not made out of the same stuff. We need our instruments to breathe. So we don't want to slap a coat of something on that doesn't allow things to breathe, to move and vibrate, to flex. Okay. So that looks pretty good to me. I don't have very many fingerprints on my instrument because I generally don't touch it by the body. Okay, so then there we are, all polished and shiny. Okay, and then for the front, if you still have a little left over that might be enough, you can, it's kind of hard to do this in my lap, you can just go to the front, buff it in, and see how far you got with the polish that's already on your rag. I think I am going to need a little more. Again, just turn it over once, and that's plenty. The polish that I prefer does come from my luthier. I think the first time I got it was like in a little container that you could dip in, and then the time after that was like they put it in a little squeeze bottle, so you could just squeeze a little drop of it on the actual instrument and then rub it in this way. But I find that with this type of bottle, the easiest way is to put the rag on and then flip it over. Okay. So then I'm doing the top. Now the varnish on the top of my instrument is thinner because we do interact with the top of the instrument more. The more you touch it, the more it wears away. It's just exposed more, and then it gets the rosin dust all over it. So it's thinner because the rosin just destroys it. So you make sure you wipe it down after you're done practicing and playing. Hard to go under the strings. That's what I'm saying. Like if you want a really good polish, it's hard to get underneath the strings. So like I said, if I'm going to change my strings anyway, I'm not really worried about getting polish on the strings. So I'm definitely bumping into these strings, but immediately after this I'm changing my strings. Don't put any polish on your chin rest. You can just wipe that off with a damp cloth, unless you like to put polish on your skin. Okay, so there's the front, all polished up now. And now it's time to move on to the ribs, or the sides. Again, put a little bit of polish on. And then just rub down the side. And then the other side, or the ribs. Okay, and then buff. And then we move on to the scroll. It's such a small place that I don't use any more rosin. I just find one of my spots that has the polish on it and use that. And I just hold the violin in between my knees like this. And then once I have it pretty well polished, I just look over it again really quick to make sure that there aren't any other fingerprints, anything else that I want to buff out. Okay, that looks pretty good. Make sure you close up your polish nice and tight. Okay, and I'll show you. So here is Buttercup, all sparkly after her bath. All sparkly and ready for the holidays. Okay, so just remember, if you're polishing your instrument, you need 2 cloths, one for dusting off initially and then one for polishing. You need actual violin polish or string instrument polish. Do not use furniture polish. It's different and it's not good for your instrument. Do not use anything like alcohol or vinegar or anything like that. Don't put polish on the chin rest. You can just use a damp cloth, but be careful with the damp. You don't want any water. Water is irreversible damage on your instrument, so you do not get any water on your instrument. And then avoid touching the strings as much as possible because it's oily, right? So if your bow picks that up, it will destroy your bow hair. You'll have to get your bow re-haired. I'm not worried about touching the strings with the polish when I am doing a full string change, which I'm going to do today. So I was bumping into the strings, so it's totally fine. These strings are bound for the recycling. So, alright friends, there it is. A nice clean and sparkly Buttercup. I'll catch you later. Thanks for watching.